Welcome to Court Helicopter News. Hayawi huwa. Wacha nikunywe maji. Who ever imagined that a dispute will arise about a will concerning a High Court judge, a commissioner of the Judicial Service Commission that employs all judges? One, let me, on my behalf, myself, Danstan Omari, the law firm of Danstan Omari and Associates, and Court Helicopter News, pass the second time our sincere condolences to the family of the late Justice Majanja. Majanja is a renowned judge. Before he became a judge, a serious legal practitioner. Then he became a judge of the High Court of Kenya. Then he rose to be the commissioner of the Judicial Service Commission. He passed on while undergoing a medical procedure in one of the hospitals. He had put a will for him to be cremated. The media has brought up a story that there's a dispute about the distribution of the resources. The dependents are now saying they cannot access medical treatment because they can't access the money that their son had given. So very serious issues arise. Did the judge draft a will that had loopholes that needs to be contested? Are people refusing to follow the instructions of the will of the judge? Why should there be a hullabaloo about the benefits of the deceased judge? Out of this, Court Helicopter has decided to bring it to you, and the lessons learned from this issue. What is a will? How do you draft a will that cannot be challenged? How do you ensure that the instructions in a will are complied with? How do you avoid a dispute? Can one say, if you go to court to challenge my will, whatever I'd given you, you will lose and get 50 cents, so that nobody can ever go to court? What grounds can a will? Why will a will be contested? What is the duration after you have died for people to access that money? Will other dependents also die before they have gotten that hard-earned money? Does your father, does your mother have a right to inherit your will? Here is Justice Majanja. The facts of the matter is that he died without a wife. He died without a child. But he has siblings and we have parents. Some of the siblings are the ones who have gone to court challenging, contesting the decision of the judge. Did Justice Majanja write the will as a judge? And therefore, that was a court order people are supposed to comply with? Or Majanja, Justice, wrote a will as any ordinary mortal human being who must die, and therefore anybody can challenge that will? Why has the judiciary the JSC kept quiet? This is a simmering issue. So Kenyans are asking, if the judiciary cannot dispense justice expeditiously to one of their own, what will befall ordinary Kenyans who are not known in the judicial systems? How will it be? Justice Majanja, in his will, which court helicopter has access to, said he should be cremated expeditiously, unless if there is need for a postmortem to determine the cause of death. That was respected. Raila Amolo Odinga, the doyen of the political terrain, who reigned in the politics of Kenya as a colossus, died. His will said that he must be buried within 72 hours. That was respected. Were there properties in Raila Amolo's will? Definitely. Are we likely to see a dispute heading to court about that will? We are yet to see. These are nerve-wracking stories. This is the question. You, a person who has no money, can you write a will? Will people respect your wish? Can you say that once you die, nobody should bury you? You are left to rot and the scavengers eat you. Will people respect it? It is a very hard question. How many Kenyans have written a will? Society, the traditional systems, people are saying, if I write a will, I'm inviting death. Have you refused to write a will? One, because you don't have anything to will to anybody. But when you die, that phone you are using, that kabambe, that where you are watching court helicopter, do you know that is property? Who'll go with it? So don't say, I will not write a will because I don't own anything. Two, have you refused to write a will because of religious beliefs? So that you say you cannot do a will because your religion doesn't agree. Three, where have you written that will and where have you kept it? Is your wife aware that you have written a will and you are in that will you have said you only leave her with that big dog called Major or that small cat, the Mew? If she gets that will, or if your husband gets that will, that the only property you've left to her or to him is the big dog called Major, what will happen? Where do we keep these wills? Have you bought land and you have put it in that will? You sell that land, forget to remove it from the will. When you are dead, your children say, this land belongs to daddy. Because there's a will here. They are not aware that you sold the land. They rush to court to evict somebody. They take pangas, slash somebody, only later to discover what is in the will is wrong information. This is a lot of questions. Is there that person you hate so much? And you say, if I die, I don't want to see that. Let him not come to my funeral. Let her not touch my coffin. Then you put it there. That person appears. And people say, there's a will say, she can't come in. What happens with that? The old proper wives Their husband dies. They discover in the will their husband had 7 wives, had 20 children. The property they thought is theirs has been willed to other women, to other children. What happens? You are young, a professional Gen Z camera lady, a journalist, a lawyer, a citizen. You have nobody in your life. You have an apartment at Kilelesho. You have some small land in Bungoma. You have some property elsewhere. You have a car that you have put on Uber. You have property. How does the law deal with these issues? If you didn't write a will, what happens? You write a will, you come from the law nation where everybody believes there's a home and there's a house. Homes are only in Nyargunga. Homes are in the village. Upon death, you must be taken to the village. You are in the UK, the diaspora people, our greatest fans of court helicopter. You left to the US 50 years ago. You have no SIM at home. You have never come back because you didn't have papers or because you sold the land and left. Then now you wrote a will that you must be brought home. There is no home. You wrote a will that you are not coming back home when you are dead. You need to be buried in the US. You need to be buried in the diaspora. Can people challenge that will? The topic, the will, is a serious question. And that is why Court Helicopter has put to you in the first episode on this discussion called the will. Imagine if the President of the Republic of Kenya, who is our Commander-in-Chief, writes a will that when he dies, he will be taken to be buried in another country. Will Kenyans agree their head of state to be buried elsewhere? This question looks hypothetical. Edgar Lungu died, former president, died in South Africa. And the will was he needs to be buried there. And the question is, this is a former commander of the armed forces. Can we allow that to happen? Can a will override what is called the public good, what is called the family good, what is called what is expected? When can a will be called a paper? Many of the wills that we have seen, somebody writes and creates a foundation and says all the money will go to that foundation. And in that foundation, every child will be given 30,000 per month. But there is one child, one son or one daughter who was always a problem to this family. Then they say, you'll only get 2,000 shillings per month or per year. And if you dare challenge this will to court, when you lose the 2,000 shillings, you get now 2 shillings. The wills that threaten that anybody challenging a will stands to lose what he was given. Can a will exclude the courts? Can a will say, me, if I die, you don't take me to challenge in court? So these are the issues that has made us to look in the episode 2, the process of writing a will, a valid will. Episode 3, we shall be looking why wills are being declared illegal. How the will that you wrote or the will your father wrote, the court can find it illegal. And the last episode is the proper advice from the lawyers, the experts. Why? Why should you write a will? These questions are posed in the first episode, shall be answered in the last episode. Why you must write a will. Make sure you follow the 4 episodes. They are joined together. You can't watch one episode because, like a river, they are flowing from the historical question where we have started with Majanja's death and the stories that have come out. We'll be moving to how do you draft a will, how the will be thrown out of court, and lastly, why do you need to draft a will? Wakili Danstan Omari never tires. We will always keep you telling you whenever there is a topical issue, court helicopter explainer does not wait to have our discussion about what is topical on Saturday and Sunday. We will give it to you immediately as it unfolds because it needs answers. You need to know the law immediately. You don't need to wait for Saturday. You don't need to wait for Sunday so that you know the answers. Wakili Danstan Omari wishing you a happy new year and a will year where the wills are now going to be part and parcel of our discussions. Wakili Danstan Omari from Court Helicopter News. Let me take a glass of tea, a glass of water, because it is tough. It is smoky. My crew people are telling me this topic, very many media houses have been scared to talk about the late Justice Majanja. Keep watching as we take our water.